Here is Arusha, Northern Tanzania, East African Community EAC headquarters. It is here in Arusha in this hall where the EAC parliamentary meetings are held. When you enter in Arusha, it is not surprising to see the Maasai tribe, who by their culture attract many to follow and get to know them. The 3 most powerful days are going to change the history of a woman in the ring of politics within this hall. It is a very special event started in June 15 to 17, 2022, involving EAC members of parliament who are champions in women political participation, women caucus, media, and other to discuss way to help women move forward in political participation under the project Women Lead Africa. Our 2022 theme is Enhancing Voice and Choice, Women Lead Africa. For example, in Tanzania, in the 2020 general election, only 26 women won the parliamentary seats, equivalent to only 26% of 264 members of parliament elected according to National Electoral Commission of Tanzania, NEC. Statistics by NEC shows that even in the ward positions, the number is still not high, where out of more than 3,900 seats contested nationally, only 260 seats were won by women, which is equivalent to 6.58%. This tragedy endures when the clock ticks down to 2030, the deadline for the Sustainable Development Goal number 5, Target 42, which needs to ensure up to 2030, women are full and effective participate and achieve equal opportunities for leadership at all levels of decision-making in political, economic, and public life. International Day Organization with its consortium partners FAWE, Femnet, Genderlinks, IFAN Gender Laboratory, Padare, and Wilsa are together decided to prepare the event to identify the most pressing concerns around women's political participation. During introductory remarks from Honorable Dr. Anne Ito, chairperson of Oyala Women Caucus, explained what should be expected after those 3 days of peer-to-peer learning and discussion.
This meeting is very, very important. In these 3 days, we hope to create an opportunity for all of us to share our experiences and identify common challenges and common opportunities, build solidarities for collective action, explore ways of making the media a friendly tool that would enable women to climb up the ladder to leadership and strengthen our accountability mechanisms to ensure a conducive atmosphere for women political participation.
On his welcoming remarks, Oyala Speaker Right Honorable Martin Ngoga reminds the member and the participants that African Union Agenda 2063 and SDGs cannot be attained if over 50% of the world population is underrepresented on the negotiation table.
When women are equally represented in political decision making, they make choices that support their community's well-being and equally in access and control over opportunities.
Dr. Robert Sharamo is International IDEA Africa and West Asia Regional Director, called for political parties in Africa to ensure effective women participation in critical positions so they can influence policies and decisions.
I therefore call upon African women to rise up and find a place in political party leadership, and for also the male champions. I think I'm very, very pleased to have seen quite a number of honorable members of parliament from the male gender who are really friends to the Oyala Women Parliamentary Caucus, Women Caucus. It's quite encouraging that there's that strategic partnership across the floor that actually to drive policies in the same direction.
Participating in decision-making positions means when women have position anywhere, she supposes to look on how she can ensure gender equality as said by Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister in charge of EAC, who has also served as a Speaker of the Ugandan Parliament.
For the women, the journey is still a long way. You know, since Beijing, commitments were made, pledges made, but we are still trying to chase, the pledges. So wherever we are, at whatever time we are, whatever space, we should use those positions. The other area is in the committees. We need to use our positions to give visibility to women. In the plenary, we need to give them opportunity to be seen, to speak, and so on. So, in the House, when 10 men stand up and there's one woman, I'll start with her, so that she's given the visibility, the men can miss out, and so on.
But what is the status of African women's representation in politics so far?
Currently, there has been an increase of women participation in political leadership in Africa. However, more needs to be done. In countries like Zambia, DRC Congo, Malawi, Mozambique, Rwanda, South Africa, Togo, Uganda, Equatorial Guinea, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Gabon, Lesotho, Liberia, Zimbabwe, even here in Tanzania, women speakers have proven beyond doubt that women are doing great jobs in their countries. In Tanzania, for the first time in history, there is a woman president, Her Excellency, Honorable Samia Suluhu Hassan, maarufu Mama.
The guest speaker, Honorable Anastasia Wambura, representing Right Honorable Dr. Tulia Ackson, Speaker of Parliament, United Republic of Tanzania. Women Political Participation WPP is a project under international idea for the sake of building capacity and providing research around the issue of WPP in different parts of Africa and regional perspective. Since its implementation, it has achieved a number of successes, including preparation of dialogues, which providing a platform for mentorship for upcoming and veterans politicians, among others, like explained by Ms. Sifi Sosami Dube, WPP Project Manager.
The project has got various actions, including knowledge generation and dissemination. We also have an action around advocacy and outreach, and one of the products that we've generated under that arm includes the Pan-African Model Gendered Law that was produced by our consortium partner, WILSA. We have under the knowledge products the African Barometer on Women's Political Participation, produced by our consortium partner, Gender Links. We have various policy briefs on the situation of women in political participation. We are currently producing a knowledge product on women in conflict and peace building that we will share with our partners here at EAC and everyone who is here. And we have other knowledge products that are targeted at our media partners.
Patricia Muganiri is a program coordinator of Women in Law Southern Africa, WILSA, explaining on how they help women to go equal in political ground.
We have seen that we have employed a number of various strategies, such as capacity building women so that they can increase their knowledge, because sometimes women don't even know what are the requirements for one to be able to stand as a candidate. Women are also not sure about the processes in the country around elections. So we have done all that, but we've seen that without a strong legal and policy framework which will enforce political parties to implement these principles, it is very difficult for us to achieve 50-50.
The statistics by gender links shows that out of 61 members of parliament in Botswana, only 11% are women. This is not a good indicator for equal participation. To ensure women number is going up in politics, GL is in use of local government program to empower women from local level on how to practice politics, as explained by Ms. Chigeza Chinyapi.
In Botswana, we realized that we need to train them also on public speaking, how they should present themselves. And we added the practical part, which we call the mock rally. They go out in a proper Freedom Square setup where we invite the public after we have empowered them with that public speaking. They go and practice. And this has really proved to be working because some of them, they had never held a mic. They are aspirants for the next coming elections, which is 2024. And we work in partnership with a radio station that at every academy that we have, they set up for the morning session. And we allow the public, the general public, to call in when these political parties are presenting.
Zimbabwe is also not far behind to equalize political arenas. Here is where Padare organization comes with the project Men on Women's Political Participation, seek influence of men to understand that even women want space to participate. Not only that, but also networking is major way used by Padare, according to Ms. Tando Makubaza.
And we also work with academias. We work with universities to publish papers, to come up with researches, to ensure that the students who are growing up, the male young men, are also beginning to speak that language. There used to be a say, catch them young, though it was misquoted later on, and it led to child marriages. But when we talk of catch them young, we're talking about let's go to the schools. Let's go to the universities, let's go to colleges, let's go to institutions and begin to speak to the young men that are found in those places. Because socialization can only happen if we get involved in how to bring up our children, which has led us to where we are today, women. We brought them up wrongly. Today they are affecting us.
Cross-generational interventions is another strategy to enable participation of women in political, which works well in Kenya. The plan worked out effective due to strong approaches mentioned by Ms. Dorothy Otieno from Femnet.
Political goodwill. We all know President, Her Excellency Mama Samia, in the short term that she's been there, she's tried to make some changes, including in the appointments, the cabinet appointments, and for the first time we have a Minister of Defense. The gender responsive legislation. Every now and then we have legislations coming up, but sometimes they're not gender responsive, probably because sometimes they need voting and the numbers of voters might go against the gender responsiveness that we may require. So it's a conscious decision that institutions and legislators need to employ in terms of ensuring that the policies that they are passing are gender responsive.
Ms. Teresa Omondi is a Deputy Executive Director of Forum for African Women Educationalists FAWE. Among their duties in 34 African countries is to get girls in school, retain them in school, and ensure their transition to the highest level of education. Is also to develop a manual that they can use to train younger women interested in politics through academies.
So these academies were classes, like of about 35 participants, just like a classroom, an education classroom. As far as we believe, the minute you are more than 35, you might not necessarily get everyone's attention and you might not know whether you're moving with everyone. So between 35 to 40 per class. It's 1 week training, and it's done by facilitators who are also well trained. There's a specific facilitator's guide or a facilitator's manual.
And these facilitators, some of them are actually current politicians, or they have been in governance schools, or have done political analysis. So they are also good experts to train the young women.
All of these efforts are aimed at preparing women leaders who have held and will hold different positions in politics. There was not an easy way. Mrs. Emma Kalia from Malawi emphasized to go ahead and look at some examples of past women leaders like Honorable Helen Johnson Sirleaf, Honorable Joyce Banda, and Honorable Samia Suluhu Hassan, who currently leads Tanzania.
It is a pride for us that even in America, they have not managed to get a woman to that position. But in Africa, we did it so many years back through Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Is that not a pride enough? When we call ourselves a Pride Africa, for instance, the whole idea of Kenya, where they are calling it Pride of Africa, are we not proud of what we have done? We should be proud.
The opportunity of women to step into office is still strong if governments comply with the various agreements they have signed. Mrs. Agnes Sadiq from Congo insists that if the agreements implemented, then the political situation will change in Africa.
Ni sherti wakuu viongozi ambao wamesaini hiyo mikataba na ambao wamekubaliana na kumweka mwanamke katika ngazi ya uongozi wawezi kuzitekeleza, lakini inabidi vile vile wanawake wao wenyewe wafanye juhudi ya kuweza kuwekwa katika uongozi. Wastahili vile vile kuongoza pamoja na wanaume. Hawatakuweka tu sababu unakuwa kina mama, lakini inabidi uwe mama ambaye anastahili, anakuwa na ujuzi, ameenda shule, amesoma, ameelimishwa, na vile vile awe na hiyo inayoitwa jitahidi ya yule ambaye anaweza kuongoza kwa faida ya raia.
There is champion MP James Chidakwa from Zimbabwe. This is a male member of Zimbabwean parliament who decided to stand stable for women's participation in politics. You may be wondering why a man has been at the forefront of fighting for a woman.
Because we also realize that without women, any nation cannot prosper. Women are a pillar in our society. Because in our Shona culture we say mushamukazi, meaning that whenever there's a wife, there's order at any home. You see, so we appreciate women from the cultural perspective.
Another in Uganda is Honorable George Odongo, member of East African Legislative Assembly and women's champion. His trust is the family has a countless opportunity to create equality by making them for software issues to become future leaders, but also the community must support to overcome challenges they face.
We are still a very patriarchal society, a society where men take most of the decisions. And our rural women are really subjected to a lot of cultural practices that undermine their, free participation in this political process, including getting themselves to be elected. Apart from their positions that are reserved for the women, they find difficulties contesting with men in their own right. So I think that is an area that we still need to continue to improve. But I think that the empowerment of women will go a long way in emboldening the women to come out very, very strongly to be part of the political processes.
In Africa, we're proud to have very powerful young women in political ground, and at the same time, they are decision makers. Among is Honorable Miriam Soda Ndiaye from National Assembly of Senegal, West Africa, and here is her journey to the politics and the parliament.
2011, in Senegal, we have a manifest, a big strike, and to protect our constitution, because the former president would have a third term, and the constitution allowed just a 2 term. And I was one of the young from the university going to the parliament saying our constitution is sacred. You should protect it, not cheat it. And that's why I started doing politics after that, because I say it's good to be on strike, manifesting, but it's better to be in the decision-making process.
When you land Tanzania, you will find Pamela Masai, a member of Oyala and engineer by profession. She had the opportunity to lead in various debates and committees. Later in 2014, she was appointed by the President of the Tanzania United Republic, Honorable Jakaya Kikwete, to be among the youngest women who are presenting during the amendment of the Constitution of Tanzania.
And when I went to Dodoma for this event, I decided to make sure that I make everyone understand me and know me and see my role. Yes, this is where, and also I have to declare that I'm from opposition. So, but when I was there in the parliament, I ensured that I created a serious network. Not challenging them, but you have to challenge technically. If there is anything, you have to build case. You have to build a technical case. You should not just speak as a politician sometimes. There are some points where you need to do the technical interventions. So from these are the things which made me to come to Oyala, because I can guarantee you that our national parliament has 392 members, and I had 200 votes.
Women must be willing and show their efforts to be in politics, as it's said by Dr. Joseph Pitso, head of SADC Gender Unit, also emphasized by EAC Secretary General Honorable Peter Mathuki.
When we move forward, we always really think hard on how we are going to translate our intentions into concrete actions that will really ensure that gender equality and women empowerment is attained. In Africa in general, and EAC and SADC, issues of gender are very, very paramount, because they also are pervaded with poverty.
We want to encourage our sisters, our mothers, the women leaders that take part in political participation. It's very important, because that is where the resources are being allocated at the political space. Please push yourself, and we are there, all of us, to support. Don't wait until you're invited. Push yourself into the space, because you have the capacity.
Mrs. Elsinge Kembwa is the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Namibia, explains on how Namibia's electoral system works about to bring gender equality from the grassroots level.
The Local Authority Act states that in the election of any local authority council with 10 or less members, the party list must include at least 3 female persons. And in the case of a municipal council or a town council consisting of 11 or more members, the party list must include at least 5 female persons. We're very strict at the Commission, because if we do not watch out for this, then this section in the Act will not bear any fruit. So basically what we do is we look at the list, and if it doesn't meet the requirements, we send it back. And if the party insists, then we simply will not allow them to take part in the elections.
But how media works in gender-based reporting?
So there are 2 point of views. One is from journalists, and the other one is from the politician. So the journalism point of view, or the journalist point of view, is that women politicians are less accessible than their male counterparts. The question is why and how? I don't have answers. We are all going to share experiences, how it worked on your side.
Is Ms. Zuhura Selemani from University of Dar es Salaam leaving a question of how to use media effectively for positive changes? Honorable Sarah Upendi, chairperson of the Ugandan Women's Parliamentary Association, says that women's politicians sometimes fail to know how they can convince media to cover them by not speaking on public interest at the agendas rolling at the time.
If something is not right, speak. I belong to the ruling party, but if I find that what the ruling party is doing is not right, I will speak. And when I speak, definitely I will be covered by the media. We now have an issue where teachers, science teachers, are going to be paid maybe $1,200 approximately, but the arts teacher is stagnant on $200. Is that something that I should keep quiet about? We are creating division amongst the teachers, and teachers are teachers. So are we speaking about that as women, or we are going to be silent? So, honorable colleagues, sometimes we don't find ourselves in the papers or being reported about because we may not be speaking about what the media feels we should be speaking about.
The advice by Honorable Fatuma Ibrahim Ali, member of Oyala from Kenya, is women must have strategy towards media and know what is she going to speak and targeted audience, and after that is recommended using local media of where you pursue to contest.
Sometimes you must invest in media also. Media, like any other campaign part, you must have resources for the media. Because sometimes they want to cover you, but they cannot travel to where you are. They cannot cover you because they even don't have, they have not even charged their gadgets. Yeah, sometimes you stay with them too long in the field. Could be they were not prepared to stay longer, so you facilitate in terms of lunch or refreshment and all that.
In closing remarks, gender advisor in Embassy of Sweden, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Ms. Sarah Solomon, calls for number of women in political participation to be higher and to terminate all forms of discrimination acting as a barrier on the way.
More equal participation benefits both society and individuals. Research shows that more equal decision-making bodies are more active on gender equality issues, and their agenda and resource allocation reflect more groups and needs within society.
Closing 3 days event of learning, discussion and testimonies, Ms. Sifi Sosami Dube thanks everyone for participation and contribution. Here, she describing few resolutions achieved.
The biggest one was to constitute a network of women in women's parliamentary caucuses. And this network will really help the national caucuses or the regional caucuses in terms of bringing their issues to a continental level.
Thank you very much. Asante sana. Merci beaucoup. See you next time. I'm Joel Hedman.